There's something different about Kentucky after dark. Not quieter, just aware. You see, these hills are ancient, hiding miles of tunnels beneath places like Mammoth Cave. A world where light doesn't reach and something may still move. People talk about pale figures down there, fast, silent, watching from the dark. And above ground, it doesn't get any better. Out near land between the lakes, witnesses describe something massive. A creature that walks like a man, but isn't one. They call it the beast. Not just an animal, something that watches, something that knows you're there. And then there's the back roads near Pope Lick Trestle, where something else is said to lure people into the dark. Now out here, people don't always talk about what they've seen, but when they do, it's always the same. Something's out there, and it's been here a lot longer than we have. Waiting. Welcome to Kentucky. Welcome to 50 States of Fear.
Down where the hills don't speak your name, and the trees lean in like they know your shame. There's a path that bends where the light won't stay, and the dark rolls in before end of day. Cries through the hollow pines like a warning call from another time. You feel those eyes, but you see no face, just the weight of something you can't replace. Don't look back, don't stand still. There's something moving through these hills. In the heart of Kentucky where the shadows roam, you ain't ever really out here alone. From the caves below to the tree line high, something's watching, don't ask why. You can run, you can pray, you can try to leave, but the woods don't forget what they've seen.
Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome to 50 States of Fear, Kentucky. I'm your host, Dano. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. What'd you guys think of that intro? One for good, awesome. Two for it was garbage. What do y'all think? Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Barry, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Phyllis, where's Wanda, Vince, all my mods, members, viewers, whether you are a casual viewer or a diehard viewer, thank you so much. Subscribers, thank you for coming on in. You guys, let me tell you, I'm a little under the weather. I am fighting a cold, so I'll try to be as discreet as possible when I'm sucking on a cough drop. But I'm going to tell you guys, that digging into Kentucky, there's some pretty strange things. And I had a guest on last Thursday, this past Thursday, and interviewed her. And I'm going to tell her encounter of what she had in Kentucky when she was about 17 years old. That's going to be pretty crazy. But before we get into that, you guys, I just want to again say if you guys have had an encounter, you'd like to come on the show, drop me an email at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. That's thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Whether you want to come on the show or just share your encounter, that's the place. That's how you can get a hold of me right there. Thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. You guys, let's go ahead and jump on into 50 States of Fear, Kentucky. And before we do that, before I get into what I found online, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this encounter. So, Phyllis, who is in the chat right now, when she was a sweet lass of 17 years old, doing what 17-year-olds do, she decided to go on home, and she had a friend with her. And as they pulled on into the holler that they lived in, now this holler, there was only like 4 houses in this holler, and she was kin to every single one of them. So it wasn't unknown or uncommon for everybody in the holler to know your name, know your business, and would probably drop a dime on you if they caught you doing something you weren't supposed to be doing. So young Phyllis decided to pull over to this one little area that she knows. It wasn't too far away from a cemetery to smoke her last cigarette before she went home, her and her girlfriend. And as they were partaking of the tobacco, she kind of looked up and she saw something strange meandering across the street. And what she saw kind of made her like freeze. She wasn't sure what she was looking at. And what she described was kind of had the body shape of a dog, kind of a head like a dog with floppy ears, but its snout, it was a long snout. Now, she has seen a dog man, and this was no dog man. She wasn't sure what it was, but it just crossed the road in front of her and then just disappeared off into the woods. So she goes home. She tells her mom, I'm out here on the road and I see something crossing the road and I'm not sure what I was looking at. She described it. And her mom's like, oh, we don't talk about those things. We do not talk about those things. And she's like, what do you mean? Well, I saw it. I know what I saw. What was it? She's like, you saw yourself a gravedigger. And that's what she knows it as a gravedigger. And I looked, and there is Kentucky lore of a gravedigger, but it does not match the description of what she saw. So, what exactly did she see? Now, to this day, she'll call it a gravedigger. And I'm going to go right along with her. I'm going to call it a gravedigger as well because I do not have an answer. So if anybody out there has had an encounter with something similar, again, she will tell you this was not a dog man because she has seen a dog man. This wasn't one. And that's the first story from the great state of Kentucky. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into some of the information that I found. Now, there's a lot of different things that you guys are going to be seeing or hearing about. And, and I can certainly get into a lot of the stories that you hear coming out of Land Between the Lakes, I can do that, but I'm not going to. And the reason I'm not going to is that they're so overdone. We have some amazing people in this community. Bart Nunley, Daryl Denton, Martin Groves, and a whole host of other people that have encountered dogmen, Bigfoot, crawlers coming out of the Land Between the Lakes. So, tonight we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about some other ones that we probably don't hear a lot about. So, the first one that I found, and you guys, we will get into a couple of dogman encounters that I was able to find. Actually, I was only able to find one on this website I go to. But we will definitely go into some of the Bigfoot encounters as well. But before we do that, I found this one called the Pope Lick Monster. Now, while Bigfoot may be Kentucky's most famous cryptid, the Pope Lick Monster is perhaps the most notorious. It's also known as the Goat Man. This is a half man, half goat creature that is said to haunt an old railway trestle over Pope Lick Creek in the Louisville area. Now, according to legend, this monster possesses the power to hypnotize or lure unsuspecting victims onto the trestle, where they meet a grisly fate. They either fall to their death or being struck by an oncoming train. The creature is often described as having an upper body of a man and the lower body of a goat, with pale skin, glowing eyes, and a pair of horns atop of its head. Now, the origins of the Pope Lick Monster, they're murky, but some believe it may have roots in the tale of a circus freak. Again, you guys, here's that traveling circus, okay? But of a circus freak who escaped captivity and took refuge under the trestle. Others speculate that the story may have been invented to keep curious thrill seekers away from the dangerous structure. Now, tragically, the Pope Lick Monster legend has been linked to real life deaths and injuries. Over the years, several people have been killed or seriously hurt while attempting to cross the trestle, often on a dare or in pursuit of this mythical creature. These incidents serve as a sobering reminder of the power of urban legends and the very real dangers that they can pose. Now, despite the dark history surrounding and associated with the Pope Lick Monster, the creature has become a fixture in Louisville folklore and popular culture. It's been featured in books and movies, even a locally produced short film titled The Legend of the Pope Lick Monster. For many Kentuckians, the Goat Man is a symbol of the state's unique and sometimes macabre mythology. Now, we're going to go to another one here. Now, when I say this one's name, many people aren't really going to associate this one with Kentucky because it's most well known. Excuse me, guys. Most well known with Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Moment. Sorry about that, guys. So, the Mothman is typically described as a humanoid figure with glowing red eyes and a massive wingspan and standing around 7 feet tall. Now, according to eyewitness accounts, the creature has the ability to fly at incredible speeds and is often spotted in the days or weeks preceding a traffic event. Now, we know all about that the most famous Mothman story is the collapse in 1967 of the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant, Kentucky. Okay? But the creature has a history of sightings in Kentucky that date back even further than 1967. In fact, according to researcher and author, a gentleman by the name of Ron Coffey, the first reported Mothman encounter in the Bluegrass State occurred in 1868 in a town named Mount Sterling. In November of that year, around 30 residents of Mount Sterling claimed to have seen a strange winged creature perched atop an old farmer's bank building. The creature was described as having human-like form with large bat-like wings and glowing eyes. Decades later, in 1938, a similar creature was spotted in Ashland, Kentucky. Now, witnesses describe it as the Flying Man, with a wingspan around 10 feet, soaring through the night sky. And more recently, in 2008, residents of Pikeville report seeing a Mothman-like entity in their own town. Now, these sightings alone with the creatures' alleged connections of impending disasters have cemented the Mothman's place in Kentucky cryptid pantheon. Some researchers believe that Mothman may be a previously unknown species of a large owl or a rare type of bat, while others speculate that it could be an extraterrestrial being or an interdimensional traveler. Now, whatever the truth is behind Mothman legend, there's no denying that the creature's eerie presence in Kentucky folklore is enduring, and its enduring ability to capture the imagination for those who hear its tale. Now, I'm going to read a story that I found. This individual was, oh no, these are Dogman encounters. I'll wait for those, you guys. I'll wait for those. Let's see here. Now, there are some lesser known but equally intriguing Kentucky cryptids. Okay. Now, why Bigfoot and the Pope Lick Monster and Mothman may be some of the more well-known Kentucky cryptids, there are some other lesser known but equally fascinating creatures that people have claimed to see. 1 second here. All right, guys, sorry about that. How's that? Is that better? All right, sorry, guys. So, out of a lot of these, do you guys still not have sound? Loud and clear? Okay, awesome. Sorry about that, guys. So, you guys, some of these other cryptids that are out there, even though they're lesser known, they're still quite intriguing, quite fascinating. So, one of the more peculiar creatures in Kentucky cryptid canon is the bear Illa. a name that suggests it's a hybrid of a bear and a gorilla, but which actually refers to the beast with the body of a bear and the face of a wolf or a dog. The Barilla legend can be traced back to a sighting in Nicholas County in 1972 when a 76-year-old man claimed to have encountered a strange creature while driving to his barn one morning. The man described the beast as 6 to 7 feet tall, long, shaggy white hair, a hunched posture, and a distinctively canine face. Gotta get some H2O, you guys. In interviews with local media, the witness referred to the creature as a half bear, half gorilla, which led to the name Barilla. Even though subsequent reports would emphasize the creature was more wolf-like in features. Now, since the initial sighting of Barilla, there have been spotted sporadically throughout Kentucky, with witnesses describing a large bipedal creature covered in light-colored fur with a pronounced snout and pointed ears. Some researchers speculate that Barilla could be a rare type of bear or a wolf-dog hybrid, while others believe it may be a previously unknown species of primate. All right. Now, before we go and get into some of the other ones, you guys, we kind of talked about some pretty cool stuff. The Goat Man, Barilla. So what do you guys think about those? Now, I don't really know what to think. I would love to interview somebody that may have seen the Pope-like monster. I think that'd be really fascinating. But before we go any further with that, you guys, let's get into some of the small businesses that I love to support on the channel. You guys, if you guys like a good cup of coffee, definitely check out Ally Coffee Roasters in Cadillac, Michigan. That's OWLEYE coffee.com. If you guys decide to purchase something from them, which I hope you do, use the promo code at checkout. The promo code is DANO, DANO, all capital letters, and you guys will receive 15% off of your order. Now, I know people in the chat, some of them have ordered from Ally Coffee, and they'll tell you it's pretty good coffee. I really enjoy it. And before I was never really a big coffee drinker, but I do enjoy a good cup of coffee or two, or three, or four on the weekends. Also, if you guys love to redecorate your man cave, your workshop, your garage, your living room, your bedroom, even your bathroom, check out Rustic Supply Co. The Rustic Supply Company. You can check them out on Etsy, the Rustic Supply Co. And what they do is all they do are metalwork. They do some metalwork. They do signage, wall art, lamps, statues, that type of stuff. And as you can see here in the slide, they got Western motifs, outdoor motifs, hunting motifs, wildlife, cryptids. So check them out. You guys can check them out on Etsy. Search for them with the Rustic Supply Co. on Etsy, or you can go to the rusticsupplycompany.com. And they're out of Springfield, Michigan. And last but certainly not least, let's check out Partly Cloudy Collective. If you guys like handcrafted, say, ornaments, little wall art, and things like that, check out Partly Cloudy Collective at partycloudycollectives.com. And if you have any questions regarding anything, you guys can reach out to them at partycloudycollective@gmail.com. And also Facebook, you can check them out on Facebook. All you got to do is a search for Partly Cloudy Collective. On June 6th, you guys, I will be speaking at Arkansas Cryptid Fest. That's right around the corner. I'll be speaking there. I'm not a VIP speaker. I'm a guest speaker, so I won't have the luxury of being inside, but you guys can check me outside. I'll have a booth where we can take some pictures, sign some autographs, and just chat and learn more amazing stories from you guys. All right. Let's get back to the show. All right, you guys. Now, if you remember a long, long time ago, I did a story or like a live stream on just a bunch of different types of cryptids. And this one I covered a long time ago. And this one is known as the sheep squatch. You heard me right, guys. The sheep squatch. And they say, if you guys are thinking about a nice woolly, cuddly, furry kind of um cryptid, then sheep squatch is your character. It is a bizarre sheep human hybrid that roams the hills of Kentucky, also known as the white thing. This creature is typically described as having the body of a man and the head of a sheep covered in shaggy white fur. Now, sightings of the sheep squatch have been reported in various parts of Kentucky, but the creature seems to has a particular affinity for the Breckinridge County. In fact, in 2004, however you want to say it, an encounter between two hunters and the alleged sheep squatch in the county was featured on a television series, Monsters and Mysteries in America. Now, according to these hunters, Dakota Cheeks and Ricky Joyce, they were out in the woods when they came face to face with this creature that stood around 7 feet tall and had the head of a sheep, complete with curled horns. They said the beast let out a bone-chilling scream before fleeing into the brush, leaving both hunters thoroughly shaken. Now, while sheep squatch may not have the same level of notoriety as its cryptid cousins, it remains a fascinating and somewhat unsettling addition to Kentucky's roster of mysterious creatures. Now, you guys, the next one we're going to talk about has always been fascinating to me. Cody, that's awesome. Thank you. I'll shoot you an email, buddy. 4G, what's going on? So, man, you guys, I'm sorry about this cough. All right. Here we go. Moving from the realm of cryptozoology to the UFOlogy. You guys know hopefully you guys know what I'm going to be talking about here. I'm going to be talking about the Hopkinsville goblins, also known as the Kelly Green Men. Because this actually took place in Kelly, Kentucky, which is not far from Hopkinsville. Now, I can sit here and read this, and I'll read this, what I found, but I'm also going to give you a little more information because I had Geraldine, whose family this happened to. See, Geraldine, as a small girl, didn't really know anything about this. Did not know almost nothing about what her family's history was like. This particular incident. Until one day, when she was around 6, I want to say, 2 people knocked on her door asking for her dad. And later on, she asked her dad who it was. And I'll get into that. So, back in 1955, August 21st, the Sutton family of Kelly, Kentucky claimed that their home was invaded by a small group of green-skinned creatures with large eyes and pointed ears, long arms ending in clawed hands. The family, along with their friends, the Taylors, engaged in hour-long standoff with the Beans, firing guns at them to no avail. The incident, which involved multiple witnesses and even drew the attention of local police and the military, remains one of the most well-documented cases of alleged extraterrestrial contact in American history. Okay, so that's all they're going to tell. Okay. Now, let me tell you about the Kelly Green Men. Okay. The Eclipsed Truth. Oh, I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys have had an encounter and would love to come on the show or would love to share that encounter, please shoot me an email at the cryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. I'll leave that right here for you guys so you guys can kind of copy that down for a little bit. So, I have to get Kumbo Baker on Suspicious Minds, and depends on what state it is because I'm going in order. The next one is Louisiana. That's the next state I'm covering. So, you guys, here is Hopkinsville Goblins, the Kelly Green Men. This is the story. So, when I talk with Geraldine on, this happened to her grandmother, her father, two of her uncles, some cousins. There were, I think, 10 people. Some of them were kids. Some of them were kids. Out of everybody in the cabin, one person did not see any of them. Oh, hey, what's up, Jenny? And the only reason that person did not see what these things looked like is because she was in the corner, laying in the corner with her head covered. She did not want to look at these. She did not want to look at these. So the story goes is one of her uncles was outside and saw something kind of shoot across the sky. And he said that the lights that he saw kind of reminded him of the color of the rainbow. And it comes flying over. And so he goes running back to the house. He went out to the well to get some water. He comes back to the house and he's telling everybody, this is what I saw. Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe it. And they're all think that he is kind of telling some stories. And he's not, though. So Geraldine, and when I refer to Geraldine, she was my guest. This is her family that happened to. Geraldine's dad decided to go out with his brother. And they go walking out. And he's looking. He's like, I don't see nothing. What? I believe you saw something, but I'm just not seeing it. He's like, I'm telling you, I saw it. It landed over there. So as they start walking down to that area, I believe their dogs come flying up from the area where they saw, or where her uncle saw this craft go down into the woods. So they turn around and they follow the dogs back up. Now, as they're following the dogs, they get close to the house, and what they see next kicked off this whole event. They saw this 2.5, 3 foot tall, green, and what Geraldine's grandmother described them as a goblin, because that's all she knew, come from around the side of their house. The guys make it into the house. They start arming up. They're like, you're not going to believe what we just saw, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, things start kicking off. They start kicking off. They hear something on the roof. They hear something literally scrambling across the roof. What could it be? Their other uncle, he walks outside. And as he's looking, and he's got a rifle with him, this one, he's a Korean War veteran. And as he's looking, one of the women see a hand, a clawed hand reaching down from like the awning, reaching down to grab her uncle's head. They pull him back, and one of them shoot. Well, this thing jumps off of the awning out into the yard, and her dad shoots this creature. Now, she said this creature they were hovering. And when he shot it, it dropped to the ground and got right back up and then ran off. They go back into the house. Now, this is from Kelly, Kentucky, or Hopkinsville Goblins, but it actually happened in Kelly, Kentucky. So they go back into the house. Now, this time, stuff is really starting to kick off. They hear stuff trying to get into the house. Windows are getting broken. Now it's a full-out shootout. It's a full-out shootout. They're shooting them with shotguns. One's perched up on like a fence post. Her dad shoots it, falls off, gets back up and runs away. They think everything's said and done. They think they've got it under control. The uncle that saw the flying saucer out by the well is out on the back porch now. He's kind of standing guard out on the back porch. Geraldine's grandmother walks out there and she's like, I believe what you saw. I don't know what's going on right now. She's trying to console him. She's trying to listen to him, understand what he's talking about. And about that time, another one of these things comes around the corner of the house, so close to Geraldine's grandmother that her uncle kind of pushed her aside and shot this thing. And again, it absorbed the shot. It fell down, got backed up, and scurried off into the woods. Now, they think it's all done. The kids are seeing this. There's kids that are seeing this, and they're all freaking out. They think it's all done. It's not. They need to get away from this house. They're saying, let's go to Hopkinsville. We got to go. I did do an episode on this. It was me. They were like, we need to get to town. We got to call the authorities. We got to do something. So as they get ready to make a break for it, these things start popping up again. And again, there's another shootout. These guys they're doing everything they can. They're able to get to the vehicles. Everybody in the house is able to get into the vehicles, and they race to town. They report what's going on their property. Authorities first don't really believe them, but still they come up, and as they're investigating stuff, the authorities now know something happened because the amount of brass and shotgun shells that are in the house, around the yard. I mean, holes are shot in the house, holes are shot in the roof, the windows are busted out. They know something happened here. What? They don't know. The army shows up from Fort Campbell. The next morning, it seemed like no time at all. Now reporters are starting to show up. People are starting to show up. People were actually walking through their house and stealing things as a memento, as like a souvenir of what had happened. Unfortunately, this home, this land that her grandmother and grandfather had purchased as pretty much hopefully to pass down, generation after generation, her grandmother wound up selling it because she had to call the law multiple times that, can you please come and do something? Because people are just stealing everything that I have. If they keep doing this, I'm not going to have anything. And the law would come up and they'd, tell people to get out of there and stuff. But that's pretty much what happened with the Kelly Green Men or the Hopkinsville Goblins. That's, again, I probably didn't get every single thing verbatim, but if you guys want to check out that episode, Let me look here on the old cell phone here and let me see what episode that actually is. That would be episode. Let's see here. That was a live stream, you guys. Let's see here. I did it a while ago. I can't believe it. Okay. I think I'm almost there. Nope. Let's see here. If anybody has it, let me know. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. All right, guys. I'm going to have to take and see if I can find it another time. Because I know it was a live stream that I did. And I'll find it and I'll put up the episode. All right. Take another swig of this and then all right. Let's jump over to some other stuff here, you guys. Now, here's one that I found really, really interesting, you guys. So in Kentucky, apparently there's something called the giraffe possum. I said it, a giraffe possum. Good night, Thor. Elephant, hello. Zuli, hello. Triple Trey, what's up? Pirate Kings, hello. Betty Boop, hello. Vince LeBear, what's up? Valkyrie, hello. So, not all of Kentucky's cryptids are quite as menacing as Barilla or Sheep Squatch. For example, the giraffe possum. What's up, Jason? What's up, JJ? Yeah, that's water, buddy. Trust me. I've had one soda in like the last week. So the giraffe possum is a creature that sounds like it was dreamt up by the imagination of a child, which actually has roots in a very real sighting. Yes, a giraffe possum, Vince. I did not stutter. In 1975, a driver near the town of Winchester reported seeing several strange dog-sized animals standing in a field along Highway 60. What's up there, pork and beans? The creature was described as having a long snout, large ears, a short, bristly gray fur, and a combination of feathers that led the witness to dub them giraffe possums. Mandy, what's up? Now, while it's likely the giraffe possum is either a case of mistaken identity or an exaggeration of a known animal's features, the sighting remains a charming example of how Kentucky's rich wildlife and active imagination can combine to a new addition to the state's cryptid list. Giraffe possums. I'm thinking a possum with a long neck. Nope. Now, you also have they have their fair share of aquatic creatures. Take example the Harrington Lake Monster, or Harry. One of the most famous aquatic cryptids in Kentucky lore is the Harrington Lake Monster, affectionately known as Harry or the Eel Pig. This creature is said to inhabit the depths of Harrington Lake, a man-made reservoir created by the damming of the Dix River in 1925. Witnesses describe Harry as a massive serpentine creature measuring anywhere between 12 and 15 feet in length. It is said to have a long, slender body like an eel, but the distinctive snout and curly tail of a pig, henceforth the nickname the eel pig. Now, sightings of the Harrington Lake monster date back to the 20s, the 1920s, that is, not long after the lake was first created. However, some of the most compelling accounts come from the 1970s, when University of Kentucky professor Lawrence S. Thompson claimed to have seen the creature on multiple occasions from his lakeside home. Thompson, who served as the director of libraries and a classic professor at the university, described Harry as having a snout, a humpback, and a tail that measured between 12 and 15 feet long. He even speculated that the creature might be a descendant of an ancient species that had been trapped in the area when its cave was flooded by the creation of the lake. Now, while skeptics dismiss Harry as nothing more than a large fish or case of misidentification, the legend of the eel pig persists, adding an element of mystery and intrigue to the placid waters of Harrington Lake. Larry, I've heard that story as well. That's a crazy story. Now, here's another one that's kind of cool. This is the Boonesboro octopus, you guys. If you thought lake monsters were strange, wait until you hear about the Boonesboro octopus. A massive coleopod said to lurk the depths of the Kentucky River near the historic town of Boonesboro. The legend of the Boonesboro octopus dates back to 1944, when a young girl was allegedly attacked by an unseen creature while swimming in the river near Boonesboro Beach. The girl managed to escape, but not before sustaining several circular sucker-like marks on her legs, wounds that some believe were caused by the tentacles of a giant octopus. In the years that followed, local farmers began reporting strange occurrences along the river, including the disappearance of livestock and sightings of dead animals floating in the water. Some even claimed to have seen the massive gray octopus-like creature emerge from the depths and crawl onto the riverbank. I think I've heard it all now, you guys. I think I've heard it all. Now, there's another one on here called the Hellhound of Pike County. Now, since the early 20th century, coal miners and residents of Pike County have told of a massive black dog that appears on mountain roads and near coal camps. Witnesses describe glowing red eyes and a shadow-like body that seems to vanish into thin air. Locals often linked the apparition to death omens. Stories say the hellhounds appear shortly before a fatal accident or tragedy, cementing its reputation as one of Kentucky's most feared supernatural creatures. They also have a story of the Panther of Pine Mountain. So, for decades, residents of southeastern Kentucky have reported a massive black panther stalking Pine Mountain. Witnesses describe glowing amber eyes, a long curling tail, and a cat's movement cats' silent movement across rid lines or back roads at night. Now, authorities do not recognize a native population of such cats, yet sightings have continued through the 20th and 21st century. The Pine Mountain panther remains one of Kentucky's most persistent mysterious animals, blurring the lines between cryptids and natural predators. All right, you guys. Sorry again. I'm sorry. All right, let's go back and let's see. Did you guys hear about? What was the last story that you guys heard? Was it about the hellhound of Pike County? So we heard about the hellhound, correct? Black Panther was the last one. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. The hillbilly beast. Did you guys hear about the hillbilly beast? Okay, so here we go. The hillbilly beast. I love this name. So the hillbilly beast is a Kentucky Bigfoot style legend. It belongs to eastern Kentucky, back hills and forest. Stories describe a huge hairy creature with glowing night eyes, howls, and tree knocks. The name reached national television when it was featured on Monster Quest's 2010 episode titled Hillbilly Beast. Retellings connect the beast to Daniel Boone and older frontier lore. That media treatment helped fix it in modern Kentucky monster folklore. The stories place it across a region, not just a specific single site. All right, guys. Here's another one. It's called the Spotsville Monster, and it belongs to Spotsville in Henderson County, Kentucky. Its best known reports came from the Nunley family in 1975. They described a Bigfoot-type creature about 7 feet tall. Local coverage soon made the case part of Kentucky's monster lore. In Gleaner reports, the family lost 16 chickens and a goat. Their dog hid under the porch when the creature returned. 5 Nunley children reported seeing it on October 20th, 1975. Television reenactments later carried the Spotsville story to a national audience. So, you guys, there's a bunch of different, stories and reports of um, different types of creatures all over Kentucky. So let's get into a few of the the only dogman encounter that I was able to find. This one is in Kenton County, Kentucky. So this report goes as I used to work about 30 miles away from where I live. One night I had been stuck in heavy traffic coming home. I take LASIK. So far, let's see. So after a while, I really had to go to the bathroom. I think that's a type of medication. I keep telling myself that I'm almost home and I try to hold it until I get there. By the time I get to my exit, I knew I wasn't going to make it to my house. So I pulled up into an area where Fidelity Investments is located and found an area that was isolated. This is a heavily wooded area with walking trails and a lot of game, but is also in a very populated area. I pulled up a little side drive off of one of the main roads. Uh, that little drive is about 100 feet long, with no room for, with only room for one car. I went up into an elevation and had bushes on the right side facing the main road. On the left side, there was a guardrail and the view of the valley below. The area up there is huge and isolated with several buildings that are all spaced out. The place is dark at night because there are intermittent street lights up there. That makes no sense. At night, it's pretty deserted as well. A few cars go through the area um, because it's a shortcut for people to use from going from Taylor Mill over to 3L Highway, where all the stores and restaurants are. Okay, well, anyway, when I stopped, I got out of my car, waited a moment, looked around to make sure there was no other cars. It was winter, so the brush between where I was at and the road didn't have many leaves on them. Okay. Uh, because of that, you could see right through them. I was up on this little rise, 20 or 30 feet above the drive, which was a 4-lane road. To the left of me was a street light and more woods that went down to the other hill. I went to the back of my car, did what I needed to do. When I finished, I stood up, and all at once, every hair on my body stood up. I knew I wasn't alone. I scanned the area in front of me and must have heard something behind me because I turned around and there were 3 deer standing there, all huddled together between my car and the guardrail. They weren't looking at me, they were looking across the road. I looked back over, and that's when I saw a figure standing between the bushes in front of it and the tree line behind it. It was huge. I stand 5'5". Some of those bushes were about 6 feet tall, but they only came up to about the collarbone area on this thing. Due to the street light to the right of it, about 20 feet away, I was able to get a pretty clean outline of this thing. It had a huge dog shaped head and pointed ears. I couldn't make out a neck, but I could make out its massive shoulders. That's when it growled, a very deep vibration that I felt in my chest. My body just took over at that point. I'm not going to read all this part. They get it out on how they know how to take care of themselves and they kickboxer and they work out every day and they train dogs. I'm not going to get all into that stuff. So when the thing growled at me, it was just pure instinct on my part. I dropped down to a crouch, positioned myself, and growled right back at it. When I did it, it stopped growling. It started sniffing the air. Its snout went up and turned its head slightly as it was sniffing. It then took a few steps forward. I was now crouched down. on all fours and moved forward, still growling at the thing. When I did that, it stopped. I stood up and kept staring right at it. I never broke eye contact with it. Then it slowly stepped back into the tree line until I couldn't make out it as clear. The deer were still behind me. They were so close I could have reached out and touched them. I waved my arms and told them to get out of here. When I did that, they went back over the guardrail and took off down the hill. That's when I jumped in my car and got out of there as fast as I could. I felt that the thing was trying to circle behind me, and I was not going to wait around to do that. For it to do that, do I think I scared it? Nope. But I do think I confused it for a couple minutes, and that gave me time to move. So she goes home and tells her husband what happened, but I didn't tell him exactly what I saw. He would think that I was nuts, to be honest with him. I thought I was a little crazy myself until I saw a picture of a dog man. I know there were other things in this world that I can't explain and that I've seen them, but this was beyond any of those that I had seen. Since that time, I do not take that shortcut any longer. My husband took me back over that way once to see the area, and I begged him to get me out of there the whole time. I thought I was going to throw up. That was a brave woman. Her instincts took over, her training, and she crouched down and growled at it. That's a lot braver than I would have been. I'm going to be honest with you. So I did look up some other, and I did find a couple other dogman encounters in Kentucky. This person stated that they were driving through southwest Kentucky. Their friend was driving on extremely remote back roads around midnight when something came straight out of the darkness and made a beeline for their car, literally like it lunged straight for the front of the passenger tire and wanted to get hit by our car. Then, as my friend swerved it, cut forward, and ran with our car. They said that this thing ran with their car for a few seconds as it outpaced their vehicle, going 30 to 40 miles an hour. Then it suddenly disappeared back into the darkness. What we saw, I would say, is human-shaped creature wearing a fursuit with extremely long, straight brown hair like a human. And they were asking if anybody had ever heard anything like this. This thing kept up with their car 30 to 40 miles an hour before it belled out. Another encounter was this person states that they live in northern Kentucky, Covington, Kentucky, actually, 5 minutes away from Cincinnati. And all you need to do is cross the river and you're in downtown Cincinnati. I also lived in, Erlanger, Kentucky, about 15 minutes south of Covington. The bowling alley called Super Bowl was right behind these apartments I lived in. They were called the Four Seasons. I could throw a rock from my apartment and hit the parking lot of Super Bowl. And one night, there were 4 people in the parking lot of the bowling alley. And they had seen a dogman, a big upright canine, and they called the police. There were a couple of gas stations in the same parking lot, basically, and the cops checked the footage from the cameras at the gas stations, and they as well saw it. The police department called and woke up a sketch artist, woke them out of their sleep in the middle of the night, said it was an emergency, and made them come and meet the 4 people to draw what they saw. Now, this person says, I've looked, but I cannot find the story anywhere. They took it off of the internet, but you can still find the sketch somewhere. You can find people talking about it on the internet some places. If anybody finds the article, please let them know. So if this actually is, if this really did happen, this is a kind of an example that's going to show you where authorities see these creatures and they immediately try to get it away and off of the internet. All right. Let's see here. All right, you guys. I'm gonna read a couple of Bigfoot encounters, a couple of Bigfoot reports, and you guys, I hate to say this, I'm gonna call it a night because I'm struggling here, you guys. I am struggling. Okay. And I do apologize, you guys. Also, what I read, I understand that Kentucky is like the 15th leading state in Bigfoot sightings. So let's see here. November 2021, Anderson County, Kentucky, daylight sighting by hunter 30 miles southeast of Louisville. It's in Champlin, Kentucky. Sorry, you guys. On Waldridge Lane. They said that they were in their deer stand near Taylorsville Lake in Anderson County. I either saw a Bigfoot or a really tall, burly fella in a ghillie suit. Let's see here. I'm trying to see. Robert is 50 years old. He's an avid hunter. He's been hunting in Kentucky for about 25 years. Robert's parents live on a 300-acre wooded property, which they have owned and resided on for several decades. The land surrounding the premises is thick with trees and brush and has close proximity to Taylorsville Lake. The area is mainly used for deer hunting by Robert and his father and a few of their friends. So this tells me that there's a very few people that are on this property during hunting season, which is good. That means you don't have a lot of knuckleheads in there doing stupid stuff. I'm just trying to see exactly what he described. He said that he viewed this creature. Well, first he said, Robert stated that he was in just as much of a hurry to get out of there as I was to get out of there. He said it was about a 10 to 15 second viewing. He said it was dark brown, long hair covering its entire body rather than short hair, short fur, 7.5 to 8 feet tall, and twice as broad as Robert himself. It was about 5 p.m. It was still daylight time. He states that he smelled the same odor on previous occasions, and his dogs have reacted aggressively in a protective manner in those times, although they never saw the creature. He was in his deer stand about 15 to 20 feet off the ground. Rob believes he saw the same creature 2 years prior, although very briefly, while seated in the same spot on November of 2019, around the same time of day. He says he will no longer be using the deer stand, that he is not returned there since the encounter that day. Oh, let's see here. There's pictures. I'm not going to show them, but there's a picture of a dead coyote with its rear leg broken in a really weird way. And it looks like he saw the creature from across a creek. And yeah, he's definitely about 15 to 20 feet off the air or up in the air on this tree. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Let's do another one here. Let's see here. Let's do Lawrence County. What's up, Arizona Punch? Let's see here. No. Man tells of his two encounters 30 years apart. This is again in Lawrence County, Kentucky. First one was August of 83 and then August of 2010. Okay, so I am an EMT and a former firefighter from the Greenup County, Kentucky area. I have two encounters in my lifetime. which I believe to be with a Bigfoot slash Sasquatch. I've told people I've had these encounters, but I've never really told any of the details, mainly because I knew no one would believe me if I did. The second encounter, I never really saw the creature, but I know it was there. My first encounter was quite the opposite. I saw the creature up close for at least a few minutes. It was in short, it was in short, terrifying. So he's saying it was terrifying in short. My second encounter happened while I was ginseng hunting in the late summer. I was right on the outskirts of the Daniel Boone National Forest at the Rowan Lewis County line in Kentucky, just a few hundred yards from Cranston Road. Now, I had been in this holler making my way up to the ridge looking for roots for about an hour or so when I heard some brush move about 50 to 75 yards up the hill from me. I strained hard to see what had made these noises, thinking it may be a deer or maybe even elk or a bear. But I saw nothing. As I continued my zigzag pattern towards the top of the ridge, I heard this noise again. I looked again and I saw a flash of black and the brush moved slightly. My next thought was, this is a bear and I don't have a firearm with me. I decided it'd be best for me to start back down the hill. As I did, I kept my eyes on the area I had seen the movement, and to my horror, I realized it was following me down the hill all along, making sure it stayed hidden. I could see glimpses of this black in the brush and the branches move the whole time I was retreating. I know that there is the possibility that it was, in fact, a bear. But what made me feel so uneasy is the fact that the brush and the branches this thing was disturbing were 5 to 6 feet off the ground. Knowing that black bears only stand around 3 feet high on all fours, and knowing that bears do not move far on two legs, much less several hundred yards, I really believed I was being followed down the hill. And I believe it was a Bigfoot. My first encounter was in Lawrence County, Kentucky when I was around 8 years old. I know it was a long time ago, but I know what I saw and I will never forget it as long as I live. We were staying with relatives. I'm not sure the exact location now. It's an it's an isolated holler between two hills and no other houses around. There were quite a few people there, and the little house didn't have adequate sleeping rooms. So we put sleeping bags on the floor in the rooms, and my cousins and I slept on the floor beside their parents. I've always been the first person awake no matter where I sleep, and this morning was no different. It was just breaking daylight. The windows in the bedroom were open because it was hot there in August. As I lay there, wondering what we were going to do that day, I saw a figure pass by outside the window next to the bed. My first thought was somebody was up and had to run outside for whatever reason. But as soon as that thought was finished, the figure was looking in the open window by the dresser. Words cannot describe the horror that I felt. Never heard of a Bigfoot at the time, so I was sure King Kong was standing outside looking through the open window. I stayed frozen with fear, knowing that if the beast saw me watching, it would attack. Well, that's what my thought was anyway. The next thing I knew, it reached its arm through the window and grabbed a piece of jewelry off the dresser. The noise it made caused one of the adults to switch positions in the bed, and like a shot, it was gone. I told everyone what had happened, and they told me it had been around there for years and not to be afraid because it had never harmed anyone or anything, and that it was more afraid of me than I was of it. Now, I don't really know about that, but I do know what I saw. And after this incident, I started learning about Bigfoot and was still and it still am convinced that the creature is real. That's crazy. He had this in 1983. The area was Louisa. He said the creature had to be about 7 feet tall. Man, that thing snatched somebody's jewelry. That's crazy. All right, you guys. I just want to say, you guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. I'm sorry of the coffee, and I'm sorry I forgot to unmute my mic a couple times. Um, I am not feeling the best, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I really had a lot of fun doing it, and I think these are some pretty intriguing encounters. Um, but again, thank you so much, you guys. I truly appreciate it. If you guys have had any encounters, any stories that you know of, anybody, send them my way. Shoot me an email at the cryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Yeah, I love to hear the emails from you guys and love to hear, um, you know, what stories are out there. But before we get out of here, you guys, I just want to say I got a couple things to read here. I just want to say thank you so much. Where's Wanda? Thanks for becoming a new member. Franklin, thank you for the new gifted membership. I wish I could see who got it using StreamYard, but I don't. Phyllis, thank you very much for the gifted membership. Elephant Foots, thank you for the $5. Appreciate that. And Wade, 11 months. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. You guys, if it wasn't for you guys, I would not be able to do wouldn't be able to do this show, you guys. Seriously. I appreciate everything you guys do. And you know, the thought never crossed my mind about coming in here and not not doing this message I'm reading, uh not doing this show even though I'm not feeling very well. I owe it to you guys. I had it scheduled. I just wanted to bring this up to you guys. I had a great time with you guys tonight. I really enjoyed investigating and doing some research on Kentucky. Next week, you guys, we are going to hit up Louisiana. I'm going to have a lot of fun, and hopefully one person is still in the chat room. I would love to hear some of their stories because they had some of them in Louisiana. So I'm going to take some NyQuil and hit the bed. I appreciate every one of you guys. Remember, you guys, let's check out these small businesses, Ally Coffee Roasters at allycoffeeroasters.com. That's OWLEYE coffee.com. You guys, if you hit that checkout button, make sure you use the promo code DANO for 15% off of your order. Rustic Supply Company, you guys, check them out on Etsy. Do a search for The Rustic Supply Co. or check them out at therusticsupplycompany.com. They are out of Springfield, Missouri. You guys, they do a lot of great stuff. And every one of these companies, these small businesses that I'm talking about, like Partly Cloudy Collective, they have graciously donated items for the giveaway, the membership giveaway. What's a membership? What's a membership giveaway? Membership is $2.99 a month. You guys get early access to a Saturday release episode. You guys also get access to all the members only content, and you guys get your name entered into a drawing for a membership giveaway. You guys, it is the 25th of April. We've got 5 more days. Again, 5 more days, and you guys will definitely get your names in for the drawing if you are a member within the next 5 days. We have a first, second, and third place winner, just like we did last month. If anybody was in and around last month for the giveaway, they'll tell you it was a banger of a giveaway. So first place, second place, third place. First place, this is one of the items you guys will be getting for first place. It's a hat. You guys will be getting that hat. I do the Cryptid Kids. If you guys are not aware what the Cryptid Kids are, let's see if I can find them here. Here we go. The Cryptid Kids are a set of 3D printed cryptids, just like this one right here. This is Mothman. We have the Jersey Devil, we have the Chupacabra, we have Dogman, we have Bigfoot, and we have the Yeti. First place will get a full set of 6. Second place will get 3. 3 Cryptid Kids, and then third place will get 1 Cryptid Kid. Also, for Ally Coffee, they're doing a 12-pack for first place of coffee, a 6-pack of coffee for second place, and a 3-pack of coffee for third place. And then I've got some new items. I have some new items from Rustic Supply Company, and I will definitely show those off when I do the drawing for yeah, they are awesome looking. But when I do the drawing. Now, you guys, the end of the month is, let's see here. So it's the 30th. So Thursday the 30th, which is this coming up Thursday. That's the last day you guys will be able to get in on the giveaway. And then I want to say Saturday, I may do the pick the winners for the giveaway on Saturday, probably during the live stream. If not, I might do it on a Friday night live stream. So, but all right, you guys, that's my time. You guys, let me say a prayer for you guys. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much for allowing everybody to come here today. I hope they had a fantastic Saturday, Lord. It was a great day, allowing us to put our feet on the floor and face all the obstacles you placed before us, Lord. Thank you for the strength, the wisdom, the courage, and the knowledge to get through those obstacles placed before us this day, Lord. Lord, if we have people out here that are not feeling very well, that they have a cold, they have other ailments, Lord, I ask you to go to them and you grant them healing from the top of their head to the soles of their feet, Lord. If there's people out there that are having a hard time mentally, Lord, and they're feeling stressed out and they just are confused and they need help, Lord, bring them peace. Lord, if someone out there just feel that they're not strong enough to go through the day, Lord, give them strength. And if they're facing something that they're afraid to face, Lord, give them courage. Lord, continue to bestow blessings upon every single person that has watched this stream tonight and are currently in the chat, Lord. Bless them and their families. Continue to protect them and let them know that you are there. Let them feel your presence, Lord. Thank you for all the blessings you bestowed upon me, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, and my family. In your name I pray, Heavenly Father, King of Kings. Amen. You guys have a fantastic night. Have a great Sunday. And as Josh always says for Mysteries Unknown, you guys stay prayed up. And as I always like to say, legends begin with sightings. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Not tomorrow, sorry. Monday morning, 6:45 a.m. Central Standard Time, where we kick off our daily live stream, Mornings with Dano. Have a great time, guys. And thank you so much for joining 50 States of Fear, Kentucky. Have a great night, guys.
And just like that, the night begins to close in. The fire burns a little lower. The woods grow quiet again. But if you've learned anything tonight, it's that silence doesn't mean you're alone. Somewhere out there, beyond the tree line, down that forgotten road, deep in the places maps don't like to go, something is still moving, still watching, still waiting. I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your night with me here on the Cryptid Podcast. Whether you joined us live, shared your thoughts in the chat, or you're catching this later, you're part of this journey now. And remember, these stories don't belong to fear. They belong to the witnesses, to the hunters who stopped hunting, to the hikers who never went back, to the people who looked into the dark and realized the dark looked back. If you've had an encounter with Bigfoot, Dogman, or something you can't explain, your story matters. And one day, it may be told right here on the Cryptid podcast. Until next time, keep your eyes on the tree line, trust your instincts, and never ignore that feeling that tells you you're not alone. I'm Dano, and this is the Cryptid podcast. Good night, everyone.